everyone, and welcome to your Daily Detroit. Thanks for sticking with us for more than 1,200 episodes, sharing what to know and where to go in Metro Detroit. I'm Jer Stays, and across the table from me, I am so glad to see her again. How are you? It's Shianne Nocerini.
I am great, Jer. How are you?
It's been a minute. Where have you been?
It has been a minute. I've been taking care of children because it is summertime.
So, two listeners who have been wondering, no, we have not killed off Shianne.
No, I'm still
She's
alive
been
and
here
well.
the whole time. She helps edit the show, all the other stuff. But summers, you're not here as often.
No, summers kind of get a little bananas in our house. So lots of running around, lots of taking care of children, making sure things happen.
And so getting out of the house, doing all that stuff to record. And honestly, with two kids running around, it's hard to record a podcast.
It really is. I can't do this.
I've met your children. They're wonderful. But
They are.
also loud.
They are loud. Yes. So I'm finally here. I've missed you all. So it's glad to be back.
We usually do this on Fridays, but we'll do it today. Where have you been?
So I've been a couple places,
All right.
but on Friday, my husband and I went to see the Barbie movie, which go and see it. It's amazing.
Okay.
But before that, we went to dinner at the Daly Drive-In.
Not affiliated with Daily Detroit.
Not affiliated with Daly Detroit. No,
And it's spelled different.
it is. It's Daly.
Okay. And where is this for people?
So it's on Plymouth Road in Livonia. And it's been around for decades. And we've talked about it on the show before.
It's been a minute, but yeah.
This is like pre-pandemic.
Okay. So since it has been so long, we have a lot of new listeners. What historically is the Daily Drive-In?
So Daly Drive-In was exactly what it sounds like. A drive-in restaurant where you'd pull your car in and they'd come and bring you food.
But when you say food, like burgers?
Burgers, conies, they have soups, they have sandwiches, they have this thing called the chichi. It's basically a hamburger bun with chili and then a slice of cheese on top, and it's a sandwich. It's messy but delicious.
Okay.
So like classic drive-in food, right? Like 1950s style, come out car hop. But when we drove in, the car hop stations were gone.
What?
So it's not a drive-in anymore.
Is it still called Daily Drive-In?
On Facebook, they call them the Daly Restaurant. So,
Oh, yeah. I see on the website now, too. Yep.
right. But it's still the original sign, still the original Daly Drive-In. I think a car hit the canopy from what I've gathered on Facebook after like going back, and it kind of ruined the thing. So they had to tear it down. And also they're short staffed like everyone.
So something I learned recently, and by the way, the logo on their website is a dancing pig
I love it.
with like a pirate hat or something. But a number of people have said to me over the years, and this has been a conversation that's happened a couple times, why don't we see drive-ins anymore? Wouldn't a drive-in kill it like on Woodward for all the people who love the cruises and everything else? Turns out it's a terrible way to actually serve people.
Yeah.
It's horribly inefficient, and cars are not built conducively to that anymore. So apparently, and I can look and see it now, but I didn't think about it. I'm not from the car world. The doors are lower
Mm-hmm.
in older cars. That's not as safe for you,
Yeah.
but they are lower, which made it easier to like put the food on the tray and do the whole thing. And in modern cars, it's just not designed for that. The drive-through is the way to go, and that the whole car hop model, although quaint, unless you have a lot of space, it really doesn't work very well, and it doesn't make any money. So
No.
I did not know that. I did not know there was a functional reason why we don't do it. It makes perfect sense.
It does. And don't get me wrong, like Clyde's
Up north,
up north in St. Ignace, and they also have one in the Sioux. Wonderful. But also, it's really hard to get your big, giant Ford F-150s or whatever into those little tiny spaces.
I mean, even like an SUV, like
Yeah.
a regular,
Yeah.
like you drive a Buick.
My Buick is pretty big.
I mean, there isn't more Detroit of a thing than driving your Buick, is there?
No.
Like it's one of those heritage brands.
Yes, like I love me my Buick, even though my husband thinks it's a grandma car.
Your husband's right.
I know, but I love
But
it.
it's very roomy inside, but I do feel like I'm at grandmother's dinner table.
Anyway, I digress. The dining room is open. You can go in and sit down. They also do carryout orders. And recently, they started online ordering.
Whoa.
So
There's a button here. What I love about this website is totally circa 2001.
It is.
Where you like roll over the menu and like the button doesn't just change color. It like when you roll over the menu, it turns into a burger.
Yeah.
Or contact. Oh, geez. It's amazing I haven't been here yet.
The only thing missing is some MIDI music on that website. A la GeoCities.
Oh, wait, no. You know what else it's missing? A hit counter.
Oh, man. Yes.
Like at the bottom of the site, like 10,000 visits since.
Anyway, I digress. It's wonderful. If you've never been, I highly suggest it.
What should you get first? Because I see everything from burgers, dogs, sandwiches, subs, sides, dinner, salads, everything. So what do I get first?
If it's your first time, I would try the Chi-Chi, honestly.
Oh my gosh, there are, in the subs category, there's a heap of ham, a ham dinger. Like, these are some great names for this stuff.
Did I get the ham dinger or did I get the heap of ham? I think I got the heap of ham.
You got the heap of ham?
I got the heap of ham because I wanted something that I was going to the movies. I didn't want to eat a bunch. But yeah, it was delicious. I highly recommend it. Go, go, go.
Okay. Well, I feel like that's a very tasty place that you have been, and I will have to add it to the list. Let's get into some food news because, frankly, today is going to be all food and restaurant news.
It's all food and restaurant.
Look, the inbox is clear. What they really want. The people want an episode of food and beverage news, and we've got tons of food news for you. First off, mention this in the newsletter. Detroit 75 Kitchen is opening their spot in the old Sears Auto Center at Oakland Mall. That's one thing, right? And I've not been to Detroit 75, but they're all over Instagram, that guy, right?
Yeah.
With the captions, whatever. I've yet to go. I actually am trying to go before the Friday show with Devin, so I can actually say that's where I've been because there's a double down on this story. And why don't you tell me about it?
The double down is they're going to be opening a food truck park at Oakland Mall.
Wow. How many trucks?
60 trucks.
Jeez. Okay, so that's huge. It's a big spot. All I can think about is Los Angeles and the Great Food Truck Race.
Right.
There's this misnomer that food trucks only work in walkable areas, but LA's food culture, and not just because of the Food Network show, but it's something where when I've been to LA, I've seen this, and other cities too. Food trucks does not mean that you have to walk to it. And in fact, in Metro Detroit, a big part of food truck culture is the food trucks going to subdivisions.
Yeah.
People who live in the city do not realize how big of a deal this is in the suburbs.
Oh, yeah.
Where the food truck goes and like they make an agreement and they go a day and everybody comes out and goes to it, especially with this work from home thing that so many people are doing.
Mm-hmm.
I know you posted a little thing about this on Twitter, where it's like, hey, you threw out this like little news item because you found it on social media because the owner of Oakland Mall just continues on. And it's great to listen to because sometimes you'll find something like there's a difference between when he's like, this is what I'm thinking of doing versus what I'm doing. And he's already taking applications for these trucks, according to what you were saying.
Yeah.
But there was a lot of feedback on that. I thought that was interesting because people are like, well, I'm not going to go up 75. I think there's a couple of things that kind of mitigate that.
I rarely take 75. I usually take Campbell up.
You know, I think with how people are in this region, 75 can be a pain for sure going up there. And I've talked about that before.
Yeah.
But if you already live in Oak Park or Ferndale or Madison Heights or something like that, it's right in the neighborhood. And people don't realize there's far more people who live around there than live in downtown. Like in that area as far as population density. There's a lot more money. A lot of our listeners live out that way too. A ton of them. I mean, there's a huge difference between Twitter and like reality sometimes. At the end of the day, it is a decently vibrant area. We've got a lot of listeners, a lot of young families that have moved up that way, that Detroit just doesn't make sense for them. Cost is a difference. There's a lot of people around there. In fact, one listener I know owns a business just like half a mile from there. They're going to take all their workers there. I know that. They love food trucks.
Right. I think the other important thing to talk about is the new owner of Oakland Mall is trying to find alternative ways to utilize the space that is no longer being used by these big stores, right? When Sears went out of business there, I mean, half that mall was Sears and the Sears Auto Center. And it would be different like at Eastland Mall, rest in peace. The Sears,
both of ours original home mall in the area.
Yes. The Sears Auto Center was a separate building. Whereas at Oakland Mall, that Auto Center is built into the mall itself.
And it takes up huge amounts. There's huge amounts of parking lot space around it.
Space. I drove by yesterday and that parking lot is a sea of just empty space. To activate that, I think would be wonderful.
And look, not every idea is going to work.
No, but
this one might.
It's worth a shot.
It's worth the shot at this point because you got to do something with it. And there is business out there. And, you know, a lot of these restaurant stores we're talking about, I'll be honest with you, a lot of that action's in the suburbs now.
It is.
And it's a shift with the pandemic, without a doubt, like a huge shift. And that's a greater issue. But there's just a lot of stuff out there. And you know what? There's some really good restaurants. I mean, Ema's got a spot just down the road from there.
That is my 8-year-old's favorite restaurant.
That's impressive.
He loves Ema.
I feel like in Metro Detroit, because we are such a car culture, one, this is the kind of signature thing that we've needed in the area. Like, embracing food trucks, I think, is something that we, should do, especially if we can have it in like a condensed area like that. The reason being is that it creates a vibe.
Yeah.
And it makes it a destination. And the thing is that once you get in your car, anything's possible within a half hour to 40 minutes for driving. Like people, this is a car-centered culture, and it will be for a while, no matter what we do. Like even if we started building a subway tomorrow, it'll still be for another 10 years or more. So that's how it is now.
Yep.
So when you go there, you could try so many foods. It almost brings back the old mall food court idea. One of the things I loved about the mall food court when I went to Eastland Mall would be there was the comic book shop, and then whatever you wanted was right there, but it kind of brings that back a little bit. I think people, if well executed, proper seating, proper shade, got to figure out some shade on that big parking lot.
Yeah.
If properly executed, I think this will be a regional destination. What do you think?
I think it could really work because people do love food truck rallies.
And downtown LA has a huge food truck park, and it does well.
Oh, yeah.
Actually has multiple one. I looked, they actually have lists the top 10 food truck parks in LA.
Right. It gives these small food truck businesses an opportunity to come, set up, have a home base for a while. People get to know you and spread the word. And there's always new food trucks coming on.
And you know where you're going, right?
Yeah.
It's not like you're trying to hunt for a spot.
Exactly.
You know if you go there, you'll find something.
Yeah.
And that's a nice thing about having it. I think that's why they have those parks in other cities.
Yeah. And I think it gives people a variety of options. It opens people's culinary interests. And I think that's really important because a lot of these food trucks are from different cultures. And so it can really open up your eyes and your palates to new foods.
Speaking of diverse tastes, and there are spoilers here. So if you are behind on Food Network's Great Food Truck Race, and I'm saying it slowly so you can skip ahead a bit, we're going to have tons of spoilers here.
Yeah.
All right. That diversity is showing in Khana, which is a Pakistani-inspired food truck, food concept from Detroit that is in the Great Food Truck Race. They made it to the finals. It was kind of a surprise to me in that the way that they edited it, built it up a different way. I'm not surprised that they made it to the finals by a talent level. It was more of, they did a pretty good job of the little like shifty edit where you're like, oh no, is it going to be easy vegan or this other thing, right? Like it makes it look a little different, but they pulled through winning the spot in the previous episode, and they will be going up against the easy vegan in this finale, which I'm very excited about. Now, there's also a lot of drama around this. Now, I'm going to say this. The drama talk we're about to have is not a personal reflection on anything. I want to try this food. If I can try to find a way, if there's like a party or whatever, like all this stuff, I'm very interested in.
Yeah.
This is more of the TV drama part. So no hard feelings. We posted this on social media and the reactions were so mixed. People felt so strongly about this truck one way or the other. And I think the root of it, because the reactions were not just local, they were all over. People were mad because they actually mid-season fired their chef and then brought on another chef. And then this final episode, that chef was sick and they won it with 2 people.
Yeah.
I don't know. That shows me that you're a badass.
Yeah. It's hard running a food truck with 3 people, let alone just 2.
At this level of competition.
Exactly.
This isn't just like, oh, we're going to have a slow day at the park.
Yeah.
You got to win challenges.
It was tough. And then she was also having to construct these taquitos, which looked delicious.
I think she almost got over her skis there.
Oh, I was worried because they were waiting on the food. And that's the one thing I will say about food trucks that I don't particularly like is the constant waiting. Like if they can't get the timing right on things and then there's an entire group of people waiting for their food.
You got to have your ticket times less than 10 minutes.
Exactly.
For sure. I think that it just struck a nerve with a lot of people because a lot of people did not like the firing mid-season. Now, again, this is entertainment. This was edited a certain way. I've worked in television. I don't know what actually happened. I know that in television, especially reality television, it is super edited and super produced. So we're going to have this discussion based on what we saw, not what we know.
Right.
They did this whole swap a few episodes ago where, they were having trouble with their chef that they brought. And then they brought in this other chef. like because they did a whole like truck team swap.
Yeah.
And they found that there was a big difference. In fact, they got to the point where they actually fired the chef and went for a while with just 2 people.
Right.
I agree. This may be an unpopular opinion, but it ain't personal. Sometimes somebody's got to go, especially on a small team where there's no margin for error. There's no room for B players or C players. Everybody's got to be on point most days.
Yep.
And I know running a small team here, everybody's got to be on point. You can't slack. Otherwise, the thing doesn't get done. There's just no room for error. To me, when they saw that, I felt like that was decisive and the right business move. I also feel like online, she wasn't treated very well by a lot of people about it.
I wonder if it has to do with the fact that 1, she's a woman, and 2, she is not white.
I can see how you feel that way. I can see that because I've worked for women bosses and they're treated very differently out there in the world.
Oh, yeah.
And I wonder if that's the combination of those 2 things, that there's a little bit of unconscious bias there.
Oh, yeah.
I think it's very possible, having worked in female-led environments.
Yeah. There's definitely some intersectionality there.
Big words today.
Yes.
Anyway, I'm excited to check out Khana. I'm excited to tune in over the weekend. I do want to mention real quick, with this season of Food Truck Race, they deleted all the shopping. Did you notice that?
I did notice that, yeah.
I think it changes the whole vibe
of
the show. You get to know the people more
because
they spend a lot of time in grocery stores and stuff, and that was the point. I'm interested in what people think. DailyDetroit@gmail.com, 313-789-3211. And again, as I said, we talked all about this in the context of what we saw on the show. For entertainment purposes, none of this is personal. All right, some news. Dime Store is opening a second location in Rochester. This has been in downtown Detroit for quite a while. Popular brunch spot.
Oh.
I have been more than a few times.
Me too.
It will be inside the Papa Joe's Gourmet Market at Rochester Road in Tienkin. They are going to be doing this new location with more in their menu. They're saying that it's going to be larger. They say they're going to be able to offer things on their menu they can't in their smaller Detroit kitchen. It's going to be twice the size of the Detroit restaurant. I don't really have a hard date on when this is going to be, but thoughts. I am interested to see more expansion from the city into the suburbs.
I find it interesting that there are more expansions into the suburbs from city-based restaurants.
Or first flagship in the city, and then it's out into the suburbs. Like the next store we're going to talk about, Pizza Cat. But we'll get into that in a second. What do you think about more Dime Store? I think it's going to do well out there. I feel like these businesses know where their customers are from.
I completely agree, because the clientele of the Dime Store downtown is a lot of people that worked downtown.
And a lot less people work downtown.
And a lot of people probably live up in Rochester or upper Oakland County. That's where money is. It makes sense.
Yeah. This is going to be a huge space looking at some of these pictures. As I said, don't have an opening date. It looks like from the pictures, it's going to be quite the space inside of this market. So it'll be interesting to see Rochester get another brunch option. I need to make it up to downtown Rochester and nearby. All right, let's talk about another expansion. Pizza Cat is going to be opening up in Oak Park. You found this out. You texted me about it. What are some details? Now, I went to the Pizza Cat Max opening in downtown Detroit, but honestly, I lost track of this story. There's a lot more that's happened to Pizza Cat in between.
I don't have much information as to when they're opening. I just know that I live in Oak Park and I drive down Greenfield a lot. And last week there was no sign on the building. And this week there was a sign clearly on the building that said Pizza Cat. And so where it's at, it's Greenfield, right before you get to 696. It's in the same little shopping center as Pita Cafe and right next to BT's Bakery. This spot, I just have to say, has been numerous iterations of restaurants that just have not made it. So I'm hopeful that Pizza Cat will be able to make it.
Well, you were telling me there's some more Pizza Cats, and I didn't realize this.
Yes, but there are other Pizza Cats in the area besides the one downtown. There's the one in Madison Heights, and then there's one in Westland that opened April 20th, 420.
I see what they did there.
Yeah.
Interesting to me, there's a lot of vegetarian, dairy-free, gluten-free options to do different things. I think a lot of people like that. The Pizza Cat Max, we did a little episode on it when it opened in Greektown, seems to be doing well. There's like a big retro vibe to it.
Yes.
Huge. So I haven't visited the other suburban locations, but the one that's the Pizza Cat Max, I know it's a little bit different of a concept, had extreme 1980s Trapper Keeper vibes, which I'm all about.
I haven't been to the Madison Heights location, But like these are small storefronts.
More of a carryout vibe.
Yeah. The one in Madison Heights is on DeQuinder, just north of 11 miles. So between 11 and 12 mile on DeQuinder.
That's the one you should try because I feel like that's the one closest to you right now until that other place opens up. Well, if you have intel on Pizza Cat Max or something you like, dailydetroit@gmail.com. Before we go, we have an opening to talk about, one that sports contributor Fletcher Sharp, he lives nearby, so he's been looking at it like that little meme with the meme with the guy with the yellow suit with the hands rubbing around the tree.
Yep.
Brine is opening in Grosse Pointe Park in it's the old Janet Lunch space, but it's a new building.
Yes.
They rebuilt it. It looks gorgeous on Instagram.
It does.
So we now know that we'll be opening Saturday, August 5th for a grand opening celebration. Then for service on Wednesday, August 9th, the restaurant will offer dinner service Wednesday through Saturday from 5 to 10 p.m. Brunch will be from 11 to 3 p.m. on Saturday and Sunday. Reservations will be live Friday, July 28th. So here's the thing. I'm glad that when we try this, engineer Randy will be coming with me because I can't have a lot of this stuff.
Right.
But it looks great from the outside when I've driven by. Right across the street, actually, the Point Hardware that's been there for a million years is actually going to be refaced back to its original brick, which is something I learned recently, which is pretty cool. So that whole look of that downtown Grosse Pointe Park is getting a glow up. There's a new building going up. There's a few other things. Anyway, yeah, I'm interested to see it just for the vibes, even though I probably will only be able to snack on a fish stick. It looks amazing from the pictures and going by.
I am very excited that it's finally opening. I grew up in the area. I spent a lot of time on Kercheval in that little shopping district. And even though I loved Janet's Lunch and I was sad to see the building go, I'm glad that they put up something that is
frankly reminiscent
of that old building. And I'm not really a oyster. I don't really
You're not part of the oyster cult?
I'm not part of the oyster thing. I can't. It's a texture thing for me. But I'm super excited to see that menu.
I'm told that some of the dishes will be smoked shrimp with a Mexican cocktail sauce, fluke crudo, Banyuls vinaigrette cucumber salad, lobster spring rolls with fried crispy sea bean salad, herb, creme fraiche, lemon confit, and spicy chili, taro taco tacos with octopus, seaweed, and tobiko. So that's something I could do.
Yeah.
And then a crab and Spanish omelet for brunch with lump crab cream, and paddlefish roe. So a little fancy brunch, but I mean, it's Grosse Pointe, so it's going to work.
Yeah. I'm excited.
So something to check out, corner of Kercheval and Maryland in Grosse Pointe Park on the east side. You know what? I can tell you where I've been.
Where?
I went to Lucky Detroit, the coffee shop just down the street there on Weyburn, connected to the barber shop. An amazing bourbon latte.
Ooh.
And with a syrup, right?
Yeah.
Reduction.
Yeah.
And aerated espresso. I never thought I'd like it, but it's a cold drink where it's actually aerated up. And so it's really smooth. It's a tiny little place. Like you've got a duck behind there and they've got the tiniest little patio, but it's cute. And if you're on the east side, something to check out. So there, I remembered where I've been.
Well, I'm glad you figured it out. So before we go.
And I know it's been a long episode.
And it has been a long episode. And I'm going to soliloquy
it's when you catch
for
up
a
with
minute.
family. It's when you catch up with family.
It is. I'm going to soliloquy for a minute, if you will. Jer knows how competitive I am.
Is this the only reason you're in the studio today?
No. I mean, we are coming up on a deadline here.
Yes.
But I just wanted to, once again, I know we've been talking about it for the past couple weeks, but if you have not nominated us for the podcast awards, please do so, because I would really like to win something. Or at least be nominated for something.
In the news and politics.
In the news and politics category. You know, I feel like people don't realize what a small team we have here. That there's only one full-time person here, and that's Jer. And the rest of us are just part-time. And
it's only because this is all the money we have.
Yeah, we don't have a lot of money. I mean, we have our patrons who we love. We have a couple sponsors, which we are grateful for. But we really do this on a shoestring budget and with not a lot of people. And most other daily shows who do what we do, who put out shows 5 days a week, have teams between 5 to 10 and sometimes 20. If you listen to other podcasts, other news podcasts, or narrative podcasts, and they have a list of people that they are thanking at the end of their shows, that's because that's how big their team is. And we are a team of a handful of people who put the show on. And we would really love to just be nominated.
And thank you for your work and everybody's work on the team, that put in the hours, between the things that they can do. They hold down full-time jobs.
Mhm.
We'd love to expand and do more with the newsletter and whatever. We're literally doing all we can with what we have at this point.
Yeah.
And really been trying to raise extra money and do some things because we have been able to resonate with some people. But literally every dollar that comes in goes right back out to make the thing work at a bare minimum. And I really appreciate all the effort that you and Randy and Norris and Luciano,
And Fletcher.
Can't forget Fletcher. I already mentioned him earlier today, but yes, of course, we can't forget Fletcher. And everybody who's ever contributed anything to the show. I am honored to be able to do this, but this is a labor of love. And in order to grow and do more, the reality is that we're completely outclassed as far as money and size in this category.
Yeah. These other shows have buku dollars behind them.
Literally, one of the entrants is literally ESPN's 30 for 30.
Yeah.
So what am I going to do? We're doing our best to cover this region that we love, and we want to do a lot more. And, maybe an award here and there would help. We don't really qualify for a lot of local awards because we don't have a broadcast tower.
No.
So that's kind of how it is. I mean, there's a double, I love being in Detroit and Metro Detroit, but also we're doing something unique here.
Yeah.
I appreciate your soliloquy, Shianne, and I really want to bring home the win for you. I'm trying my best. I'm doing it for you.
Well, thank you. So podcastawards.com and hit that blue nomination button.
All right, and we are done for today. Tomorrow, Norris Howard. We've learned that the city of Detroit has opened up 30 retail cannabis licenses, 10 consumption lounge, and 10 micro-business licenses. And there's a whole lot more to talk about. As we all know, cannabis has been a big issue in the city of Detroit and nearby, and Norris has been on it. And of course, other stories around town. We wanted to focus mostly on restaurants and things today. With that, I'm Jer Stays.
And I'm Shianne Nocerini.
Thank you so much for listening to your Daily Detroit. Remember that you are somebody. We'll see you around town.